Welcome to the To Be the Church podcast, where we explore what it looks like to truly be the church in today's culture. Happy Thanksgiving. Actually, happy Black Friday, I guess, as it is right now. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving yesterday. But this week, we decided to do something a little bit different. And you know what? I'm thankful. I'm thankful for a lot of things. And I decided to go back through our archives and find some of the stuff that signifies what I'm thankful for. And the first thing is I'm thankful for Ben Potloff. He's been on this show now for a few years. And so we're going to go back and we're going to listen to Ben's first ever segment here on the To Be the Church podcast. Let's check it out. I'm here with not Andrew, but another lead pastor of Northwest Gospel Church. His name is Ben Potloff. Hello, Ben.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Good. Should you clarify that Andrew still works here at the church? And
I was gonna leave that hanging for next week.
Okay.
You know, but so Andrew's supposed to be here, but he can't be here. So yes, he does still work here. He is still a part of the NGC team. He just had to run out for some stuff, and so I grabbed Ben and decided to record with you today. And this is interesting because, like I said, it's actually February 1st right now as we record this, and I've been gone a lot. And a lot's changed since I've been gone. Like when I left for Christmas, you weren't here.
I didn't work here yet.
Yeah. And so you are new since I left. Mm-hmm. And Andrew mentioned it on the show last week, but I'll go into it a little bit more here in just a second. But yeah, I've been out, had some vacation, and then my family finalized our adoption. And so I've been at home a lot, learning how to communicate with a 2-year-old who'd never heard English until 4 weeks ago. So, we'll talk about that in a minute. But Ben, you're new here.
Yes.
Maybe if you listen to the show, you've heard us talk about our Camas Washougal campus that hard launches here on February 24th. And you are the new local lead pastor. You were hired to lead that church. And so a lot of our listeners do go to church here at NGC. So let's get to know you a little bit.
Yeah.
Max and Cody sitting across the room. If you can think of some fun questions for Ben, just shout them out. But you have that look on your face, Max. By the way, I enjoyed you on the podcast last week. I felt like I was listening to a Stephen Furtick sermon. Just a lot of yep,
Like your response to it or his actual...
That's what he was doing
said. Oh.
whenever Ryan and Andrew were talking about.
Yeah.
You did have good questions, though. I liked your questions. So, Ben.
Yes.
You. How old are you?
31.
All right. So tell me just a little bit about you, about your family, your upbringing, education. Get into it.
Yeah. So my name is Ben. I am married and been married to my wife, Andrea, for over 10 years, just over 10 years. And we have 3 kids at home, a 6-year-old daughter named Peyton, a 4-year-old son named Titus, and a 1-year-old son named Marty. And
named after Marty McFly?
No.
Okay.
No. But a lot of people think that. So born in California, moved up to Oregon around middle school, was in the Salem/Dallas, Oregon area for a long time, up until just moving up here to Vancouver. And I was a youth pastor at a church for like 7 years. And then at the same church, I transitioned into like an associate pastor role, did that for a few years. And so we were at the church for a total of like 9.5 years, and then got the call up here and just started January 8th. So
nice. So you went to Corbin University.
Yep.
Did your seminary work at Western Seminary. Why are you a pastor?
Why am I a pastor?
Like what was the journey like to that discovery that that's what you were going to be doing with your life?
I'm really in it for the money. You know, I heard the money was really good.
Same.
And so, same. Yeah. So when I was a high school student, I was really involved with the youth ministry at the church I was at, was being discipled by the youth pastor and some youth leaders. And I remember one day we were at a youth, like a week-long youth retreat thing. And my youth pastor, we were doing like this encouragement exercise where we were just encouraging each other. And he told me that he thought I could be a pastor. And so I really respected him, looked up to him. And so that was like, whoa, like maybe he's right. Maybe I could be a pastor. And so that kind of set me on the trajectory of thinking more about that and serving more in the church, kind of trying to get a feel for, is this something I want to do, that I'm gifted to do? And then by the time I was trying to figure out college, I was like, yeah, I want want to pursue this. And so I went to Corbin to study ministry and the Bible. And and then as I've done it, just there's been a passion that's developed, a recognition of just gifting and a desire to do it, and love for people, and a passion for preaching the gospel to people and letting people know who Jesus is and what he did and what it means to follow him. So that's why I'm a pastor.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, so I asked Max and Cody for some questions, and what Max just texted me.
I got some from Max too.
Okay. So could God make a rock so big that even he couldn't move it?
Could God make a rock so big that even he couldn't move it? Sure.
I'm thankful that Ben had that first awkward episode a few years ago here with us on TBTC, and that he's still here. I'm also thankful for Andrew, and I went way back in the archives for this one to the 6th episode we ever did. I think it was in the year 2015, where we were just getting this podcast off the ground, and Andrew went back through his emails and found some of the most ridiculous things that people had emailed him in the first couple years that he was here. This segment actually became known as our Anonymous Comments segment, and so let's check out one of the first ever anonymous comments here on the TBTC podcast.
I don't know, dude. This is fun because every pastor gets these. And, we talk a lot about what should we do with these? Should we throw them away? Should we read them? Should we take them to heart? Should we do whatever? And I like what we're doing. We're just going to have fun with them and talk about them.
Yeah, and, the idea is to throw anybody under the bus. And even, I think at times we'll extend this anonymous comments segment into an emails segment, kind of emails that we get or emails that we've gotten in pastoral ministry. And good opportunity just to address the things people are thinking. And like I said, no, the idea isn't to shame anyone, throw anybody under the bus. We're not going to read anybody's name on, hey, so-and-so said this. Not the idea there. The idea, though, is to, for the listenership of the To Be the Church podcast to address things. Because some people say stuff honestly. Some people email random things about things or post things. And, a lot of people could be thinking that way, or it could be something that needs to be addressed. And so I think it's just a fun segment.
And other times it's just ridiculous, and it's awesome.
And it makes us laugh.
So real quick, a good shout out to our friend Dan, who wrote on his comment card this week that he hopes that when we bring the cross lights back that they are magenta. So you got that, Dan. We'll do that for you.
We'll work on that, Dan. We'll see if we can find a magenta light bulb.
Another thing I want to address is we saw a comment on Facebook this week that read this. It said, I'm looking forward to the anonymous comments and wondering how many will be genuine versus staged. A little winky face next to it. And I would like to tell you that we have so much material for this.
These are not staged.
We will never make these
We will
up.
tell you, there's some of these that you can't make this stuff up. There's others that you have our assurance on this, okay, listenership, that we will not make these comments up. This will be real comments that can be verified from our attendance sheets or from our emails. So, we definitely want to bring the real here, all right, to Be the Church.
So let's get into today's anonymous comment. And Andrew, you brought this one up. You found this kind of in the archive. This is an older one. But this is brilliant.
Yeah, so. I had, and it was somebody that used to email me when I first got here to LifePoint. And so, these are from a few years back. And, but it was just, the material is just too good. It's kind of stuff you can't make up. And so, and it has to do with a certain subject that we'll talk about. And it has to do with how you dress when you come to church, specifically how pastors dress or what the impressions are there. And so here's an email. Again, the person will remain nameless, but they're talking a little bit about, the time I had been here, and they were kind of giving their opinion on what's going on at the church. And they say this: when you started, I thought you would be very good. You are a great teacher, but that is where it stops for me. Why? I will be honest with you and tell you what bugs me. No, it is not easy for me to do, but you need to hear it. Okay. So then the person lays out, 4 different things that just bugs them about me and ministry here and those kind of things. But number 2 is this: you still do not dress like a pastor should. I know all the churches in Vancouver want people to dress as they are, but don't you think it bothers the Father, capital F, that his children think so little of him not to dress up better for him? We do not need to be in suits and ties, but honestly, the ushers in t-shirts and shorts in the summer, what kind of respect does this show to our Father in heaven? Business casual is fine. Also, you need to ask for a larger clothing allowance and get some sports coats that fit your biceps! Exclamation point. Goodness, can you even move your arms? Stop laughing and pay attention. This is from the email.
So she said, stop laughing and pay attention.
Yes. I'm trying to help you here. You are the leader of the church and need to set a better example. You need to have leadership tell their teams to wear nicer clothing if they are going to serve the church. Some people just look sloppy. Some of the people in the lobby are doing a good job and look very nice. They are also very welcoming too. This is great. However, this is where it seems to stop, at the lobby. Think about it for a minute. Let's say you're a visitor. You are not a kid or a young person, but someone who has been to church, who's been in church for years and knows how things have changed from good to bad. This person has moved to the area from somewhere where the church people know that jeans and t-shirts are not acceptable in God's house. Capital Gods and capital House there as well. Think of the Midwest and South for help. You walk in, and we'll ask you about that, Ty, being from the Midwest. You walk in, and the people are dressed like they are going to a picnic, and the pastor's clothing is a size too small on him. You would not find this acceptable, and you would try another church and to find a place where the people know how to present themselves before God. Even if the teaching was great and correct, it would still bother you that people do not respect the Lord in this city. This is what I see in most churches, and it bothers me a lot. It also bothers others we sit near. We ask them, so we know. In the Old Testament, when they were to present themselves before God, they had to get cleaned up and dressed nicer. They were required to do this to show respect and separate the common from the uncommon. Why have we forgotten this basic thing? And this is from another email from the individual. There's one thing that drives my family crazy. The dress is way too shabby. Most Sundays, you get up the platform and you look like you just got out of bed. Did you? You wear blue jeans and your shirt always needs ironing. Once or twice, you looked fantastic when you wore a sports coat. This was before, I guess, my sports coats got tight. Why do you not elevate the church by wearing business casual clothing? A tie is not needed, so you can leave it at home. Oh, and get rid of all the dark and gray and black shirts. Wear some color for a change! Exclamation point. What is it about most pastors that they dress like they just got out of bed? They represent God's people. Doesn't that mean anything to the pastors of church anymore? And then they go on. The individual goes on to criticize some other pastors on our staff, which I'll stop there. We came from a church where the staff looked nice, and you knew they cared about the Lord and His church. By the way they dressed, they did not believe in this quote getting out of bed unquote look in that church. We had to move, and I miss seeing those people who dress nice. It's important. We do not go in blue jeans unless it is a picnic on July 4th. I know you will tell me that it does not matter what a person dresses as long as they are in church. Basically, that is true, but I really like a pastor who knows how he dresses can affect the people. Remember Aaron in the Old Testament, the priest, and how he dressed? His dress was part of what set him apart from the people. And then the closing is, give it some thought before next Sunday. Oh, man. There it is.
We should just drop the mic and walk out.
Yeah. So, what to say? I think I respond.
She makes some valid points.
Ty, come on, man.
You know, we've had a few special guests come on to this podcast over the years. Some are here for a while and then move on. And one of my favorite instances of that was our good buddy, Drew Schinderwolf. He worked in our creative department for a while, and he interacted with an email scam that was just hilarious. And I'm grateful for that. So let's listen to this segment from episode 179. We are joined by a very special guest. Our friend Drew Schinderwolf is here. Drew, this is your first time on the To Be the Church podcast, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Have you ever listened to the To Be the Church podcast?
I have. I like it.
Are you lying?
No, I really have.
Okay. That's good. Okay, so you were on the podcast today because something very interesting and hilarious happened on Monday. So I wake up Monday, and Monday's my day off, and I have a couple texts from you. I have a couple texts from other people on staff saying that Andrew is sending some very funny emails. So I dig into it a little bit, and this is actually like a brilliant scheme. Okay, so you know how like you'll have like the random emails from like Nigerian princes that are like, "Hey, send us some money," but you know their English is horrible, all this stuff. Yeah, like those are like obviously overdone. No one falls into that.
Yeah, no one does.
One time when I was in Hawaii on vacation, someone hacked into my email account and like sent an email out to all my friends and a Facebook message to all my friends because I got in all my accounts saying that I was on vacation overseas, which technically I was in Hawaii, so I kind of was, and I got in some trouble and needed $500 Western Union to me. And I actually had a friend like legit send $500 via Western Union. This is like before I had kids, so at least 9 years ago. So these scams weren't like super well known yet, and so I felt real bad, and I ended up giving him $500.
Stop it! Oh wow!
Because he was like trying to help me and my family, even though some random dude in Nigeria probably got some money. But this is a new one, and this is a good one. Like actually, like if you're looking for a way to scam people, like pay attention for the next like 2 minutes because this is brilliant. So here's what they did: they went onto our church website. They found your picture, Andrew, and your information. And then they created a Gmail account called andrewmurch@gmail.com, but they just spelled your name a little differently so it would like so they could actually make the account.
Interesting.
It was like Murcih. They just added an I in there.
Okay.
So that's what they did. And then they start emailing the staff saying that you want stuff. So it looks like it's coming from the boss. So here, I don't have the beginning of this. So Drew, read the first email you got from Andrew Murcih.
Yeah, so I'm sitting at home on my computer at home, and I get this random email from Andrew with a picture of Andrew that says, "Good day," very formal.
Good day.
I need a favor from you. Please get back to me as soon as possible. Hope to hear from you as soon. Form this email. Spelled from wrong.
Okay.
So this email. Don't email any other emails. So then I say, "Hey, Andrew. Yeah, how can I help?" He got me at first. And then he says, "Good to hear from you, Drew. I need you to get an iTunes gift card for some patients going through cancer in the hospital. And I promised each patient, but I can't do this right now. I'm currently busy in a meeting. Can you get it from any store around you? I will pay you back as soon as I get back. Let me know if you can get it now." And I said, "Sorry, Andrew. I can't because I don't have a car right now, but I can do it later." And then you said, "Drew, am okay with any time, but promise to help me with cards when am done with meeting. I will pay you back."
Okay, so now's where I have the thread here. So I'll take over the Andrew Murcih role, and we'll go through this conversation because it gets way better. At this point, our executive pastor has been like, "Hey, put a kibosh on this. Stop this dude from emailing us." And I was like, "Okay, I'm just gonna wait a little bit so we can keep talking to him." So
wait. So you took over. Say this again.
So I knew that Drew was talking to him at this point.
Okay.
And so I was like, let's just mess with this guy a little longer before we
mess with the dude.
Yeah,
mess
before we
with the
block
guy who was
him
trying
completely.
to scam us.
Right.
Yep.
So he says this. "Thank you, Drew. I want you to purchase $500 in iTunes gift cards in $100 denominations. $100 for each patient. Once you have the gift cards, this is what I want you to do. Scratch off the back of the cards to reveal the PIN numbers, take a snapshot of the back showing the PIN numbers, and send the image to me. I can easily forward to them. Let me know if you can get this done."
And at this point, I knew this was a scam because you sent that whole email in like 30 seconds. So
Like a copy paste job.
yeah.
Nice.
So then I replied, "Oh, no, that's all right. I could just swing by the facility and give them to you before you head out to the hospital. No worries."
And then Andrew Murcih says, Thanks you, Drew. Have the image sent to me. I can easily forward to them. Let me know if you can get this done."
And I said, "If you want, I can pick up some nice envelopes, maybe some thoughtful get well cards to put on the gift cards to put the gift cards into. That way when they open it, it's like, wow, that's so thoughtful. I feel better already. That could be nice. Let me know if you have any other better ideas."
Okay, so let's just keep going. "Drew, I told the patients, and I don't want you to stress. Just help me send the picture showing the pin on it, and I will add some prayer point on it before forward."
Prayer points. Oh, nice touch.
Sent from my iPhone. That's what it says at the bottom.
"No worries. It's cool. My wife got back early and I'm at the store now. So what are we thinking? Like sympathy cards, more like funny cards? I feel like funny get well cards is kind of mean, but hey, you're the boss. Also, the store I'm at doesn't have $100 iTunes gift cards, but they do have $100 cards for Buffalo Wild Wings, which is honestly kind of a gross amount of wings for each person. But I do know how bad that hospital food is, and this may be a breath of fresh air. Also, we know how much Georgia loves her Parmesan garlic, right? LOL. Oh, Georgia. Also, will B-dubs deliver to a hospital? Seems like a long shot, but I think we should go for it. What do you say, boss man? We pulling the trigger on this or what?
And at this point, Drew has texted the rest of us and like, can anyone get me a picture of some Buffalo Wild Wings gift cards? So Cody apparently was at the store and found some Buffalo Wild Wings gift cards, snapped some pictures of them, and then Drew replied this.
So I send it over and I say, hey, Andrew, this is the only style of cards that they had. Is this cool? I know we previously discussed doing $100 increments, but I'm thinking let's just get the whole rack and really bless them. They're all $25 increments. So just get like $25 Buffalo Wild Wings. I mean, what are ties for if not for helping those in need get the nutrition they deserve?
So at this point, the guy's probably like, okay, they're messing with me now. So all he says back is, just me, app card, or stream cards. That's it. And then we closed the conversation.
Yeah, my last reply before they disconnected the thing was, and this is about 2 hours later, I said, okay, I've been all around town, and this is the best I've come up with. First, I have several cards for you to look at, and I think you'll be thrilled. I went with a Winter Wonderland and Hawaii theme, which consequently is also a Tiki Torch theme. I also made an executive decision and grabbed some various gift cards because I just couldn't decide what Barbara Ann and Draymond would want the most. So I went with several gift cards, each to See's Candy, the Sunglass Hut, the Tannery. It's a tanning salon for not for a leather shop. Trust me, I've been down that road many times. And last but not least, hot dog on a stick. It's Barbara Ann's favorite. I also went ahead and got an iTunes gift card just in case. When should I meet you at the facility?
And so at this point, we're at like, we're about to like block this dude from emailing us again, but he goes ahead at this point and shuts down his own email. So we try to keep emailing him, it like comes back because the email address is no longer in. So again, this is a great scam, a really good idea. Like go to an organization, find the boss's name, their picture, make a fake email account, and start asking the employees for things, specifically gift cards that they can send images to that you can, cash out really quickly. Mm-hmm. And if you speak decent English, you might actually be able to pull this one off. But
yeah, it should have given away first email when he spelled from wrong. I would not do that.
Yeah.
But so how many people on staff got emails?
at least a few. I don't know. Like I heard from 2 or 3.
Okay.
That had gotten emails, or that had at least let me know.
Was it always iTunes cards?
I think that it was just like the initial message was just like, hey, can you do something for me? And then when they didn't respond,
Yeah.
I was talking to Courtney about it, and she said that one time your email got hacked into, like a long time ago, like back when she was your assistant.
Yeah.
Or something similar had happened. And she said she knew it wasn't you because the email closed with like thank you so much, Courtney. You're the best. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon. I'll see you in a few hours. And she was like, that's not Andrew.
Scam.
You know what? I'm also grateful for the stuff that gets sent to us by our listeners. Sometimes that stuff is serious, sometimes it's questions, and sometimes it's stuff like this. Andrew Murch. Do you turn to God for answers, but feel afraid you can't hear his voice? Are you asking questions like, should I take the job? Can I make this relationship work? Is there a better life for me? Imagine living each day with a direct line to God. He wants us to hear him. His voice is our gift. I want to teach you how to tap into a direct line to God and actually hear his voice. Find out your prophetic personality with this free quiz where you'll learn whether you're a feeler, a seer, a knower, or a hearer. This will only strengthen your connection with God. Are you ready to take this quiz, Andrew Murch?
Okay, where's this quiz from again, Ty?
Well, according to the picture that accompanied the Facebook post that it comes from, it might come from Match.com.
Okay.
Or it might come from a lady named Havilah Cunnington.
Okay.
Havilah Cunnington, who is a prophetic teacher. She's associated with places like Bethel and things like that.
Interesting.
But again, It might be Match.com based on the photo.
Yeah.
All right, here you go. True or false? You get an overwhelming feeling of what's going on in the atmosphere when you enter a physical environment.
Oh, man. The atmosphere, like smells and stuff. I do have a super sniffer, so I'm going to say yes.
All right. You operate on instinct and intuition.
Yes.
Yes, you
True.
do. Okay. You have a strong inner voice that guides you.
A strong inner voice?
Inner voice, like a voice inside that guides you.
I'm going to say no on that.
All right. You tend to have big dreams.
Big dreams?
Yeah.
Actual dreams?
Doesn't say.
Let's go true on that.
All right.
Yes. Affirmative.
You struggle functioning when things don't feel right. Feel in quotes.
Definitely not.
You find it easy to push through barriers and overcome obstacles.
Sure.
You tend to enjoy journaling and keeping track of your life.
I do journal a fair bit, yes.
You struggle waiting for your dreams to happen.
No.
You have often been labeled over emotional or too sensitive. One of those is true of you.
No. The label is not true. I don't think I have been labeled such things. Ty, are you gonna label me right now? Is that what's going on here? I'm just trying to be.
You were emotional in your preaching.
I am emotional.
Sensitive, not at all.
Yeah, not sensitive, but emotional. I don't know that I've been labeled.
Havilah is
over-emotional.
waiting. True or false?
Havilah, I'm going to say false on that. No.
You tend to struggle communicating why you have a strong faith about something.
No.
We're over halfway there. You tend to enjoy working.
Thank you, God.
You tend to enjoy working alone.
Yes, that's for sure.
You tend to envision how things should be in a situation.
Okay. Affirmative.
You pick up other people's emotions.
Pick them up? No. I put them down.
You tend to have inspired thoughts interrupt your own thoughts.
Inspired thoughts interrupt my own thoughts?
Yeah.
I'm going to say no on that.
There's not like a, what are those posters called that have like people climbing mountains and they say like attitude?
Motivation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a name, like there's a brand for those. I
Okay.
don't know what they are, but you don't have those pop in your head whenever you're
No.
doing your work. All right.
Nope.
Cool. I guess we're different. You struggle focusing on details.
No.
You struggle relating to others who don't envision what you do.
No, I don't think so.
You are able to feel things that others do not feel.
A lot of feel going on here. I'm going to say no on that just because I hate that word.
You tend to be a person with unwavering faith and trust.
Unwavering faith and trust?
That's what it says.
No.
You learn by listening to others speak.
Yes.
As should everyone.
We all learn that way, don't we?
You would rather be dreaming about the future than focusing on today.
I don't know. Part of that's kind of my job to think futuristically, but I'm going to say no. I like to focus on today.
All right. Oh, please enter your name and email address to view your prophetic personality results.
If you're putting a credit card number in there,
Max Janish.
MaxJ@nwgospel.com.
You are a hearer.
I'm a hearer?
You have a keen sense of knowing when God is speaking, and you learn by listening to whatever the Holy Spirit is saying. Ooh. Learn more about your prophetic personality with 30 daily activations, prophetic personality cheat sheet, and downloadable worksheets. Register now.
Is there oils that come with this or any sort of...
You know, the thing that I'm likely most thankful for is the ways that we can look at what it looks like to be the church together. And we've seen that in so many ways over the last 7 or 8 years as we've been doing this show. And as I was thinking through it, I went back and listened to the first episode that we did during the COVID shutdown. And we looked at what it looks like to be the church in the midst of a pandemic. And again, this came out in March of 2020, and we didn't really know what was going on yet. But again, just so grateful for the ways that we can be the church together and how we explore that here on the podcast. So let's check this out. It is Friday the 13th, March 13th.
Really?
Yeah. Happy Friday, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Andrew, how you doing, man?
Doing well, dude. Friday the 13th. Appropriate topic for Friday the 13th.
Zombies?
Pretty ominous topic here. We want to talk through coronavirus and all that entails, how to be the church in an age of panic over the uncertainty of something like this. And Tyler, do you remember in your lifetime ever encountering something like this?
You know, I was telling somebody on the phone today, it's interesting. I don't.
I always remember things like this happening in different parts of the world.
Yeah.
Or parts of the world that like, oh, this is never going to affect or touch where I live or anyone I know. So I definitely remember stuff like that. And looking at the numbers like of different, epidemics, maybe pandemics, I don't know. Like H1N1, like it was like, oh, that was a big deal. Why don't I remember that?
That was 10 years ago,
Yeah,
right?
like-
Yeah.
Like I was 25 years old-ish. Why don't I remember that happened?
Exactly. That's been one that really surprised me. When I saw the numbers on that,
Yeah.
I was like, dude. And again, this thing is still developing right now, this
Right.
whole coronavirus thing. But yeah, the H1N1 numbers, just how many people that killed in America in how short a period of time was pretty astounding when I saw that. It happened back in 2009. But we were just talking today about, we're recording this on Thursday, day before this airs here. And I mean, this afternoon, you were just noting all the professional sports leagues and the March Madness tournament got canceled. And, you have governors of states like Oregon, right south of us that, at least last night, that governor had issued a thing saying gatherings of over 250 people in the entire state can't occur for the next month. Disneyland, Ty, has closed as of right now.
Yeah.
So how do we be the church in an age like this? And maybe even beyond that, that's maybe too broad of a question. How can we, this is the To Be the Church podcast, so how can we as a people, starting here at Northwest Gospel Church, how can we be the church in an age of coronavirus as we encounter something like this, when you've seen the wholesale measures that have been taken by government officials and health professionals and everyone else, what do we do? How do we approach this? It's been interesting as this has unfolded, Ty, where the story the story 3 or 4 days ago is different than the story is today. And I think really in the last 24 to 48 hours here, we've seen this thing ramp up to super major levels, right? And the stock market the last couple of weeks was kind of fluctuating up and down, but it has just gone nuts in the tank here this last week. And these last 3 or 4 days especially. And so the panic level is real high. And obviously something like the stock market is so based on fear and uncertainty that it is driven by factors, so many different factors that it's some of it could be based on reality, some of it not. But the type of uncertainty, I think the word that I would land on would be uncertainty. That's what people are definitely feeling as you look at the world now. And so how can we as the church be the church in an era like this? I think that's what I'd like to explore here, Ty. Any opening thoughts that you have on that?
Yeah, I got a couple. And they don't come from me. I just saw a tweet a couple hours ago I think it was from last night by Kevin DeYoung. And he said,
that was a good tweet. I saw that.
4 things that Christians should not do in a pandemic. Number 1, tell everyone it's too late. Number 2, tell everyone it's not a big deal. So you got both sides of the spectrum right there.
Yeah.
Number 3, act like experts. And number 4, make everything about politics.
Yeah.
4 things Christians can do in a pandemic. Number 1, pray. 2, trust God. 3, show compassion. 4, give thanks in all circumstances. I think those are, good starting point.
That was great. Yeah. And what are the 4 that he said not to do? They were...
tell everyone it's too late. Like panic on like the the sky's falling.
Yep.
The other 2, the next one is tell everyone it's not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So to minimize.
Minimize
Number
it,
3,
yeah.
act like experts.
Yeah.
Number 4, make everything about politics.
I would say don't do number 3 unless you are an expert. I think we need experts to help us in that regard. And because there are very few experts, obviously. But I'll tell you, this has been funny for me. I don't know why. I'm glad at this point because of where this thing has gone that I have gotten so immersed in the whole story. But I've been following this for like a couple months now. And I generally, and the older I get, the more I'm this way, I generally follow the news really, really, really closely and have several different kind of news apps that I can follow local and national, international news and just kind of really try to stay in the conversation and aware of what's going on. Even when nothing big is going on, I almost feel like news has sort of taken the place that sports had for me like 10, 15 years ago, where I used to follow sports so closely. And I still do follow sports, but I now follow news a lot more closely than I used to, and I think so. But just watching this occur, I've been reading probably half a dozen articles, maybe 10 articles a day on this for now a month, and I'm glad now that the thing is going crazy.
You are?
What?
You're glad the thing's
No,
going
I'm
crazy?
not. I'm glad I didn't finish
We
my
should
sentence.
definitely pull that little part sentence out and put it on social media.
That's the way to be the church. Be glad when things go crazy. No, I'm glad I've been keeping up on it because it's I mean, it's a developing situation. And even now, what's going on in the Northwest, I mean, Washington State right now is nationally the epicenter of it in America. The things that have helped me in this is when experts like epidemiologists or people that are actually, infectious disease experts, when I have read stuff from them or seen stuff that they have put out there on or when they've been interviewed on news stations or whatever else, that has been helpful because it just gives you more information and those kind of things. But yeah, dude, one big thing, and I noticed this like when I woke up today, that man, like I don't want to say, and I don't want to foster this idea that we need to put our head in the sand as Christians. Certainly, be informed, everything else. But the fact that we do have so much information at our fingertips, and even of those three of those things DeYoung was saying about don't over politicize it or minimize it or maximize it, for your own gain, or be the expert, right? I guess all four of those things he was cautioning against. Those are due to our capability with our smartphones, with our social media apps, with the environment that is what it is right now, to put all that stuff out there for everybody to read, for everybody to see, and to be hyper. I mean, when you're reading on this constantly, you're constantly watching the news on it, you're constantly thinking these things, the more information you get, you can feel like, man, I really know something. And I think you got to be careful as Christians to realize that I think when you actually begin to know stuff, you know how much you don't know. And so you got to be careful in that regard. But anyway, I think one thing that when I woke up this morning that really came to mind is like, I'm not saying putting your head in the sand, but I would say like put your face in the Bible, put your heart on God's word in something like this, because I noticed that when I wake up in the morning the last 2 or 3 weeks, there's like the temptation to reach for my phone and to get the updates on coronavirus, right? And to see if it's like lurking right outside my front door. But then there's also like my Bible sitting there, which I tend to hopefully make that choice first thing in the morning as I get up, as I'm waking up, getting a cup of coffee, like that I would reach for my Bible first rather than the news. And there's nothing, magical about that. It's just I have found myself when I'm reaching for the word first and having dialogue with another human, maybe about the word, like my wife talking through things in the morning, praying together, that there's a different way that my own heart and mind operate in those moments and on a day like that than when I reach for the news and saturate myself in the latest this or the latest that or whatever is going on social media, generally speaking. And one thing that one scripture I was reading in devotions like probably a week or two ago that really stuck out to me in regard to this stuff, Psalm 111:10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, which that's said all throughout the Proverbs. It's probably the main idea of Proverbs. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. This is Psalm 111. All those who practice it have good understanding. His praise endures forever. And dude, I love that. All those who practice the fear of the Lord, which another translation there puts, all those who follow his instructions have a good understanding. And in a day where you're like, I just want to know what's going on. I just want to know what the truth is here. Is this a big deal? Is it not a big deal? How do we approach it? The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. All who practice it have a good understanding. And so I'm thinking through that. And then last night I saw a tweet from Kings K. I saw 2 tweets from Kings K, which is probably my favorite band. And one of their tweets had said that they were flying in together to start writing new music. And I thought, yes, because just yesterday I was like, dude, all right, I need a new album now. It's time. When did Zeal come out? Like a year ago?
Probably about a year
ago. Yeah. So anyway, that encouraged me. And then, but then they tweeted again, and the Kings, this is the Kings K account, said, what if we feared the Lord like we fear this virus? And of course, like a bunch of people responded to them pretty sarcastically, negatively, whatever else. But I thought that was that in light of this Psalm 111 being on my mind these last 2 weeks, what if we did? What if we feared the Lord the way we fear this virus? And the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. All who practice the fear of the Lord, who follow his instructions, have a good understanding. And in a day where people are looking for understanding, I think you fear the Lord, it's going to put your heart like in a different place than if you're fearing if your hope is in the stock market or your faith is in, the latest vaccine that's going to save the world, you're gonna go up and down like you see those things going up and down now. But if you're focused on and content in and happy in the Lord, and your heart is there, you're gonna have a good understanding, and that'll allow you to be the church in this type of a setting, right?
Thanks so much for joining us for this little recap episode, looking back over the last 8 years of this podcast and the ways that we can be the church together. We'll be back with our normal show next Friday. Have a great Thanksgiving weekend, and we'll see you then.